You know, we see people who are Oscar winners. We see people who are millionaires. We see people who are healthy, happy parents. We see people who are really fit. We see people living like this thriving life, achieving goals, making big impact on the world. We see people with successful companies, sharing important messages, traveling and adventuring, you know, having great celebrations with friends, having like the relationships they've always been wanting and waiting for, right? These things sometimes just happen and get delivered to you, but some of them are projects. You know, for me, the relationship category has been a project, a lot of it related to personal growth, a lot of it related to just, you know, being open for certain conversations and pursuing them and having faith in myself and other people to be like vulnerable and honest for a second. My own programming related to self-worth and trust gave me a lot of work I had to do to get to a certain point. But whatever your project or goal or dream is, you know, you chunk it down. And maybe your math is different, maybe your model is different, maybe you do a margin of error. Maybe you do a 20% margin of error fluff time where you're like, you know, this feels like 50 projects, but I'm going to commit to doing 55, right? Maybe you want to see bigger victories and your year is not, you know, the motivation is too extrinsic. You're not used to having that fire from within. So you make every project a celebration. So even if you do 10 minutes a week as your starting point, and if you've been watching this video more than 10 minutes, you can, you know, count yourself as already successful for this week. Good job. You might want to add on another, you know, practice of raising the time by a certain percent each week, but celebrate your victories and success. You know, Martin Seligman and Chris Peterson, two of the co-founders for positive psychology. Chris Peterson was one of my teachers, brilliant, beautiful man. You know, he's no longer alive, but really incredible man. Talked about savoring, and so did one of my coaches. Real cool career planning specialist. The organization's name was Career Planning Specialist, and the coach's name was Jim Danielski. He said, do you savor your success? So I want to ask you, do you savor your successes? You know, everything you wanted yourself to do, professionally, personally, spiritually, pick one thing that you did recently. And whether or not you had or not, just like thank yourself and say, I feel so good that I did that I took the active choice to do that and complete it. And just take a second to see how your life is with that being done, even if it felt like an obligation or being forced. But also see the timeline where you didn't do it or haven't done it yet. You know, if you're alive, you've eaten a meal, you can give yourself credit for eating a meal if you're at rock bottom. Like, come on, give me a break. You can do this exercise. So that thing that you did, you know, feel that feeling in the present moment and see how your self-worth and self-confidence feels when you savor success. You feel good. You might remember that confidence is different from arrogance. Even if arrogance is present, it does not negate confidence. That's both personal growth categories, but if you have, you know, 9 o'clock tonight, you're going to spend your, you know, 15 minutes, and you've already decided in your mind you're going to start at 15 to 25 minutes, and this video is a warm-up, then do it no matter what at 9, and have that laser focus, and show up like a standardized test or like anything you have to be present for, you know, performing surgery, and celebrate that success, and draw a box and check it off, or some similar version of metaphor for your life. You know, I have on my wall there, I have too many cables or I would move the camera, but I have this grid of boxes. One box is 1 month. Vertical lines are days, horizontal lines are categories. When I achieve a project, an hour, 2, 3 hours, I check that box. That project is now 2% more close to completion. I don't think, oh my God, I have 86 more projects and they have to get done this week. Like, why choose to think that way? You know, even if it hasn't been a choice, even if you've been overwhelmed with anxiety and pressure, as I have been many times throughout life, it's fun. Not really. To release that sadness with some laughter, but you know, we all have our paths. So in celebrating those successes and seeing myself move closer to the goal and choosing to savor, those become automatic patterns and habits and behaviors. And now I savor automatically. You know, if I make a post on Instagram and I want myself to post, but high quality, genuine, sincere, giving value posting, you know, and I do that and I invest the 5 minutes, 10 minutes it takes to do that, I allow myself to feel good. I don't think, oh crap, I only posted once, I didn't post more than once, right? So your inner voice, your outer voice, like, see how that feels. Maybe do that. When I say like, oh crap, I didn't do as much as I wanted myself to do, that feels bad, right? If you just say that and feel your sternum, your breastbone. If you say, oh, I did as much, I did this much, and that got me that much closer to my goal, and I believe in myself that the next time I work on that activity, I'll do at least that much again, but hopefully, probably, definitely more. And then you have expansion, right? And when you're open, it can be, oh, I got that much done. I'm going to get that much tomorrow. I've been a little bit short on time, so I'm going to reprioritize. I'm not going to store you, get into emotional reactivity about not being productive or productive enough. This is what I did. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm here now. I'm focused on what's happening now, right? So that's pulling it all in together, the emotional mastery and the energy mastery and the time mastery. So moving on from complex goals, I've taught workshops on that one bullet for 2 hours before. So again, please DM me or comment on the post before this on my Facebook timeline, and I'll address comments from both sources in about, I think, about 20 minutes. If you can't stay this long, you can bookmark the recording or PM me for it. I'll try to go fast. How to make sense of the wide world of spirituality, find what's practical and scientifically backed, and the often deeper and richer aspects that also have good science, albeit not yet not well known. What a mouthful. 1 second. Okay, how to integrate spirit in the material world. This is for the rationalists who are, I feel, in my opinion, this might be a judgment or projection, if so I apologize, but who I believe, in my personal experience and my memory, which of course is affected by psychology, a lot of left brain, not a lot of heart and openness, a lot of, if it hasn't been, widely distributed and peer-reviewed mainstream scientific studies that are double-blinded and validated and repeatable and accepted by mainstream science, it's not real and therefore bullshit, and everything related to it is questionable. That's a strong stance. And I'm also speaking to, I feel my spirit and remember my past lives and loved your thought channeling last night, David, and my aura just is loving, and I'm sending you, kindness from my heart, and I see you, and I see the level of awakeness in your system, and I see the work you have to do, and the presence and light you give, and I feel my own light, all the woo stuff. This is for the whole spectrum, right? So let's marry the tribes in our own heart, if not in the wider world. And again, yes, those were both characterizations and exaggerations. Sorry for offending anybody. No, I'm not. I'm sorry if you chose to be offended at my bad imitation of JP Spears. Okay, so there's data about a lot of spiritual stuff. There are machines and devices that can sense chi. The William Tiller Institute is one direction to look at. There have been double-blind, peer-reviewed studies that have shown methods of hands-on healing have cured and erased cancer in living mammals in a measurable amount of time under rigorous Ivy League university conditions. To see that data, go to the Society for Scientific Exploration and their website. They have a ton of research papers on this and the greater category of psi and psychics. And there's a lot of skeptics out there, and not all the skeptics have read the research. This is a very deep rabbit hole. There's stuff for both sides. From personal experience and deep research, I believe everything I share. If you don't, I wish you all the best. You can tune in or tune out, up to you. So, given that spirituality is real, it isn't just a practical woo-woo fun fantasy thing to heal and strengthen your energy body. And given that spirituality is real to other people, even if it's not real for you, or even if their thing isn't your thing, even if you're not into chakras or divine beings or sacred geometry or tantra or astrology or whatever they're into, whatever you think of it, it's real for them, right? So working with consensus reality, what is shared amongst the people you're interacting with, generally is an arbiter to define, are you crazy, or do you know something that is legit and you're just working on experiencing it, accepting it, and knowing truth from exaggeration or fantasy.